see. And we're live. Hello,
Mhm.
everybody, and welcome to another episode of Warriors podcast with Vivi and Mar. And today I'm really delighted to host another wonderful human being and mindfulness practitioner, teacher, and supervisor, Maria Perkins. So, Maria has deep knowledge on teaching how to bring mindfulness into our daily lives, and this is going to be our topic today for greater happiness, joyfulness, ease, and less stress. Is that right,
Mm.
Maria?
Mm.
Did I get that right?
I'd say yes, yes, and yes to all of those. Yeah.
All right. Welcome,
Mm.
Maria, first of all, and thank you for being here with us. My first question would go to you that how did you arrive to all of this? What is your story?
Mm. Um, I've been practicing mindfulness for perhaps 10 years, could be a decade now. It's quite a long journey from beginning to practice to then teaching.
Mm-hmm,
Took me quite a while to sit on the cushion and guide other people in
mm-hmm,
practice. Um, Yeah, I trained with the Mindfulness Association and I've been journeying with them ever since. So, do you want something particular or
what
specific
has it
or?
allowed for you um, in your life? What kind of changed when you came to mindfulness yourself?
Hmm, I can give an example from just arriving here. We arrive a few minutes late, yeah,
Hmm.
to this live because,
With technical
because
difficulties,
because I
yes.
had a technical glitch. Yeah, I tried to put the link in and it told me no, it wouldn't work on my browser. So in about 5 minutes I downloaded two browsers so I could join you on on this call today. I remember a Maria, a younger, older version of Maria, would have been very panicked by now.
Hmm. Hmm.
I would have been very panicked for whether I could be here at all. My
Hmm.
mind would have spun off into all kinds of different places. Um,
Hmm.
but I'm sort of able to be here. I'm present and listening to what's inside of me.
Hmm.
On
Hmm.
my journey, one of the one of the things is not what I've gained, but what I've lost or lessened. And one of
Hmm.
those is this sense of um, doing all the time.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
used to be a very busy person who friends used to call me a tornado. I
Oh,
used to,
tornado. Okay, okay,
yeah,
that says
I
it
used,
all.
yeah, I used to get a lot of stuff done, a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
Um, but like many of us, I would make mistakes along with that tornado. So
Hmm.
it saved me time. It saves me a lot of stress and anxiety because I have a slower way of being.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That sounds really, really useful. Um, from your own benefits to the kind of scientific ones. So, what would you say? What can mindfulness do for our lives, and why? Why should we even practice it? Why should we be more mindful?
Hmm. I'd wonder why you didn't practice it. It's maybe I can tease out two things. People, when you
Hmm.
say mindfulness, I'll often say mindfulness to people, and their mind immediately goes to formal sitting mindfulness meditations.
Hmm.
For me, mindfulness is very much about the little moments
Hmm.
and being present, fully being. So being with our sense of senses and body, um, which for me is living now. I didn't know that I
Hmm.
wasn't doing so much living before. I was trapped in, and you'll know this perhaps, Vivian, and anybody who decides to listen to this, they'll know this sense of what we call autopilot in mindfulness. So, where the
Hmm.
mind is so busy with, oh, all kinds. I can't tell you the amount of distraction that I used to get caught up in.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be inner judgment, whether it be critical thoughts, whether it be planning for the future, getting trapped and locked into past memories.
Mm-hmm.
So not being here, just not
Mm-hmm.
being here, not
Mm-hmm.
being here for everything that's around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You
Whether it,
mentioned the
yeah.
autopilot, and I've done one of the exercises from the mindfulness books, which was about even sitting in another chair or brushing your teeth in mindful ways. And it's true
Mm.
that because we those things go so much in autopilot, it's actually really hard to do uh, things
Yeah.
in a different way, and you start to
Mm.
notice how much of your everyday things are autopilot, and how much you're not actually taking a choice. And would you then agree that when that comes also to our work life, to our relationships, then that's where the issues are normally coming in?
Mm. We're not present. We people talk about awareness and being aware. Um, to be aware is to be present in the body, at home, with our
Mm,
senses. But as you say, this in the mindfulness-based living course that I teach, um, we encourage each other and support each other in a group setting to practice daily mindful moments. And one of them that many people choose is brushing the teeth.
uh-huh, uh-huh,
You pick exactly the one that many people do because it's something that happens regularly that we no longer think about doing.
mhm,
We
mhm,
approach it and we do it. And it's something that often we will time around 2 or 3 minutes.
mhm,
And it's amazing where the mind can go and how many times it can move away from the present moment of being.
mhm.
It's
That
simple.
is true. It's
Like
actually quite
brush.
hard.
It's actually, I tell people mindfulness is it's innate. It's something we all have. And when we're little children, as we grow, so many layers of other things uh, arrive
Mhm,
um, that we sort of forget.
mm,
Doing the practice and doing supporting each other helps us to remember. So it's almost like a remembering. It's not something we're learning, it's other things that we're unlearning. And one of the biggest
right.
challenges is distraction. Exactly what you
Okay.
point to, just the
Okay.
mind. We talk
Yes.
about the mind like a puppy, like a puppy dog wandering away,
Okay.
consistently wandering away. And the way to bring it back is gently and kindly. And this is often what we're not very good at either. We will punish ourselves for it not being present, for us not being aware, and then we add an extra layer of difficulty, of distraction.
Mm, mm.
So yeah, it's not so easy to be present for just 2 minutes of brushing teeth. Mm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. With
Yeah.
I'm curious with the people that you train during your mindfulness based or daily mind, how did you call it, the daily uh,
It's the
living course,
mindfulness based living course.
mindfulness based living course, exactly.
Mm.
What do you see changing in people when they train with you, when they start to remember the innate quality of actually being present?
Yeah, at first it can be a challenge because uh, we begin by noticing the unsettled mind. So, what you've pointed to with not being present in just 2 minutes of brushing teeth and how many times the mind goes away, the first thing many people notice um, is that they're not present, and that can bring a bit of a challenge, sense of sadness, like, oh my, how much am I missing, or how much have I already missed in my life
Mm-hmm.
by not
Mm-hmm.
being present. And then, quite quickly afterwards, once the noticing space, the second thing is often a sense of compassion, a sense of wanting to be kinder to this experience of being. I don't know if that's making any. Is that making you're not? You're nodding.
No,
Is that
I
making any
definitely,
sense?
I have definitely
Yeah.
been in the first one of noticing how much there's our distraction, and how often we get off the track. Um, yes, and definitely it is one of the best practices that I've seen in adding compassion in their lives. Mm. Is there anything else that people mention that what has changed? Any funny stories, perhaps?
Oh, there's a lot. There's a great deal. One of them that I really enjoy is when I first started teaching mindfulness, I did it within the context of community mental health and well-being,
Mm-hmm.
and I share with volunteers and staff in the place that I worked in. And one of those staff members was a really big skeptic. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
no way
Mm-hmm.
can this stuff. So like
Work. Yeah. Okay.
it doesn't work. There's no way, and it's not going to work for me. And within, I think it was about the third week of the course, the
Mm-hmm.
this beautiful being, a dear friend of mine as well now. I remember she was on a phone call and she came away from the phone call and came straight to me and said, "Hey, Maria, this mindfulness, I can't believe what's just happened." I say, "What?" She said, "Well, I just got off the phone and it was to a family member. And it was quite a difficult conversation. And they said, I can't believe that I just ended the phone call with a thank you and in an even and open way." Said, "No,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way I did that because usually I would have spoken like this, which is would have been a response of fear for that
Mm-hmm.
person, concern, and
Mm-hmm.
advising and guiding and telling them what they should be doing, and getting quite upset, frustrated, and angry that they were not able to do it." And she said, "The only thing that's different is this mindfulness stuff. So it must work."
Okay.
Because the only thing that I've been doing differently is mindfulness. And that was about 3 or 4 weeks into the course. And there's repeatable experiences again and again and again. People will they'll talk about individual, unique moments to their life that are
Mm-hmm.
important. And many of them are relational, particularly
Mm-hmm.
between
Mm-hmm.
family and
Mm-hmm.
friendships and
Mm-hmm.
colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
So the yeah, the way that we respond
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
different quite
The
quickly.
lesson lashing out all these reactions that we might have on
Yeah.
in relationships.
But the thing is, it happens.
Reactivity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it happens not because we mean for it to happen. So we don't
Mm-hmm.
mean to respond differently,
Mm-hmm.
but through the practice of being more present, it simply happens.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Indeed. Indeed. That
mm,
is definitely.
yeah.
Um, what is it that you, if when you advise people to get started, how would people get beginners get started in being more mindful in their daily lives, and how could they bring this practically into their existence?
Okay. Well, it's not difficult to do. I tell people it's not. It's really
Where
simple.
should they start?
It's really simple, but it's very, very hard to remember.
Okay, simple but hard.
It's really simple, but it's hard to remember. So, as you say, with the teeth brushing, if there is something that we do regularly where we can
Mm-hmm.
bring more of our awareness, more of our attention to. So, I know many people do things like their morning coffee.
Okay.
So, when you make your morning coffee, really smelling your morning coffee, really savoring the taste, feeling the warmth in the hands. So really being present. And the mindful part of it
Mm-hmm.
is when we notice the mind has wandered away from that sensation of sipping, tasting, smelling from the sensations.
Mm-hmm.
we celebrate and congratulate that we've caught the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And we kindly bring it back to our cup of coffee. So instead
Mm-hmm.
of busily preparing for the day, becoming anxious or worrying about what happened yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
we can be fully present. It doesn't have to be
Mm-hmm.
coffee. It can be tea. It can be your, I don't know, your yogurt, your porridge, or so getting
Mm-hmm.
into the senses and
Mm-hmm.
consistently returning for a very small piece of time
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for something that you do regularly.
Mm-hmm. So, just a simple thing as a simple thing as 5 minutes morning coffee could be a really good start
I
to
go for
the.
1 minute,
Oh,
just
go
one
for
minute.
1 minute. So
Go
as
for
a
one minute.
beginner,
Go for
right?
1 minute. Go for 30 seconds. Go for 10. What, congratulate. The thing about this mindful way of being is that if we can meet ourselves where we are and
Mm-hmm.
how we are,
Mm-hmm.
and then grow it slowly
Yes,
by
because each
slowly.
one of us has different
Oh, yeah.
monkey mind,
Yeah.
jumping around
I say, yeah,
and
butterfly mind. Yeah.
okay, but
Sometimes we'll land on a very juicy flower, something that has been preoccupying us or been an old
mm-hmm,
trauma or an old wound,
mm-hmm.
and we'll stay there. It's fascinating. So if we can come home to the body, it,
And
it really
when,
helps.
oh, sorry,
Mm,
yes.
mm.
um, I lost my mindfulness for a minute.
And that's
And
okay.
when do you, what is the time frame that things start to happen in our brains, in our minds, that we start to relate to the world in a different way? Perhaps
Mm.
our reactivity is lessened. Is there a time limit, like for a new habit? It takes normally 21 days, things like that. Um,
So the reason there is an 8-week mindfulness-based living course and also 8 weeks mindfulness-based stress reduction, the reason that they are
mhm,
8 weeks or 2 months is that research has shown and continues to show that this 2 months of setting up with others to support this daily practice um, is sort of the time frame on which we can set the foundations for the
mhm,
practice and,
mhm.
and receive the internal feedback that says, hey, this is working.
So 8 weeks, and in that
eight
one, we
weeks.
we we get already the
Yeah,
benefits.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Although for for the for the effects to stay and
Mm-hmm.
continue, the practice needs to continue. So,
Mm-hmm.
so if you do an 8-week mindfulness-based living course, and then you don't continue to keep bringing your
Mm-hmm.
mind back, it's sort of it's a state rather than a trait. It will
Mm-hmm.
taper off,
Mm-hmm.
and research is also showing this to be true.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Mm-hmm.
it's you can't do 8 weeks and think, "Yay, I'm set up for the rest of my life." It
Mm-hmm.
is this is why it's called the daily practice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Regularly for as many moments as we can.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And it
easy.
alters something in our brain. Then um, does it alter the centers that are our fear-based thinking or feeling exists in our brains?
Yeah, it the the thing that we pointed to before about the reaction or the
Mm-hmm.
immediate response that we can take is an amygdala-based fear response. So
Mm-hmm.
as you'll know, Vivian, you
Mm-hmm.
probably speak to it better than I can. These amygdala regions of the brain become very responsive very quickly to our internal thought patterns as much as to what happens externally. So we are consistently triggering the
Mm-hmm.
amygdalae as it is, because we have two
Mm-hmm.
like almond-shaped fear response, which is where our fight, flight, or freeze response comes from. And with
Mm-hmm.
mindfulness over time, we ease this.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it significantly changes the matter in the brain. But this really helps sciencey people for sure.
Yes,
People who want
yes,
proof
yes, which
and
which
evidence.
are
We all
out
want
there
proof.
as well.
Yeah, we all want proof and evidence, but there's thousands. If you do a quick search, you
Hmm.
will find thousands now of quite in-depth research reports to find the science. Um, and this, you may or may not have noticed, that this also brings a heady response, a mind-based response.
Hmm.
It gets into mental activity of how it works, why does it work, it will work, which
Hmm.
pushes us away from being with body,
Hmm.
being at home, instead of
Hmm.
being with doing. We are human beings, not human doings. So
Indeed. Yeah, I just wanted it for the science geeks for that are watching. So uh,
there are thousands, and
amygdala is the part that
yeah,
yes, definitely gets the benefits. And I'm sure it's more uh, over. It has overarching benefits in various ways um, for our brain health.
mm,
Mm.
yeah.
Um, well, I would like to move to the discussion that you run a 8-week based mindfulness based living course. And could you tell a little bit about that starting um, venture of yours?
Yeah, I've been teaching the mindfulness based living course for adults and also for young adults between 11 and 18 for I think about 6, 7 years now.
Mm-hmm,
I'm starting a new course on the 4th of March. I often offer these courses for organisations, but this one is for private individuals, also people who own or run businesses. So anyone who's, yeah, it's not organisational this time. Often it's for staff and volunteers. It's an 8-week based course. Each week we build upon the last week. So we begin with this noticing the unsettled mind, and we move all the way through week by week in supporting us to begin with this stable practice that you spoke of,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
also include meditation practices. So we begin with a few minutes, and by the end of the course, the hope is that you'll be have your own unique sitting practice of about
mm-hmm,
30 minutes a day.
mm-hmm.
So
Okay,
for
that's
many,
wonderful.
yes,
Mm-hmm,
for many people, they can sit and be with the practices for up to 30 minutes a day, depending on the
mm-hmm,
individual and, yeah, depending on personal preference. Some people prefer movement practice.
mm-hmm,
The sitting meditation works very
mm-hmm,
well in terms of, yeah, easing the mind, whether it's at the beginning of the day, the end, or during. So, as
mm-hmm,
well as the informal, we call it informal practice, like
mm-hmm,
brushing teeth or
mm-hmm,
being with your tea, there's also formal sitting practice as well.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So that sounds beautiful. It sounds like develop your own mindfulness
Yeah,
practice in 8 weeks,
indeed,
basically.
yeah. And
Yeah.
there are core practices that the Mindfulness Association um, offer and that I'll be offering,
Mm-hmm,
and they'll be available via audio practice. So you practice each day of the week
mm-hmm,
for hopefully in this building way, week by week,
mm-hmm,
little by little.
mm-hmm.
So we may sit with it.
Wonderful. And do you have an offer for the community as well currently? Ongoing.
Yeah, an offer in terms of price, or
Yes, yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The course is. See, I'd like to offer both to this community and also to the International Working Women of Finland community, and indeed any community member, to offer a pay what you can place.
Mm-hmm.
There is a set price,
Mm-hmm.
and if you can pay the higher price, and this
Mm-hmm.
is, it's actually very reasonable, but I think probably one of the most affordable courses that's available in Finland at this time for a similar
I
course.
definitely recommend, yes. Anybody who
So,
would want to start the practice, it's a
mm,
very generous offer to check it out.
yeah,
And where can people find you? Where can people reach you, Maria?
you can find me at my website, mariaperkins.fi,
Yep,
Maria Perkins Bistafi. You'll find me on Facebook as well and Instagram.
on the Instagram, right?
Yeah.
And we'll be dropping the handles here in the chat as well.
Mm.
Um, um, any last words, Maria? Do you have anything that you'd want to that you'd like to highlight about the importance of mindfulness to the community?
It's the best thing I've ever been introduced to. We don't know what we don't know. For me, I didn't know that I wasn't present. I didn't know that I wasn't living fully until
Hmm.
I began practicing.
So all
Yeah.
in all, life changing.
Oh yeah, you'll enjoy all kinds of things more. Mm.
Okay, well, that's exactly what people these days need,
Mm.
isn't it?
I'd say I'd say so. Yeah, the definition of mindfulness as I be with it is knowing what's happening whilst it's happening, no matter what's happening, so without preference. So living more fully, yeah, for sure.
Definitely, and
Yeah,
definitely needed for the time of adversity that's ongoing.
yeah.
Mm. Great. Thank you, Maria, for this introduction into mindfulness. We're reaching the end of the show here, and thank you for everybody for watching. And Maria can be reached via these handles that have been now posted, and I encourage everybody to check out the Maria's generous offer on the 8-week course, so you can develop your own personal practice,
Mm.
um, which is, as Maria said, mind and life changing.
Yeah, it supports all areas of life. Better sleep, better physical presence, less accidents. You know, all the benefits of mindfulness are out there. Uh, I don't feel any need whatsoever to sell or market, or we know them. And as I say, it's very simple. It's very
Mm,
simple, but it's not easy to remember. And so to be with a supportive group in the process of practicing and getting your own practice in place,
it gets you
it's really,
integrated.
it's so helpful to be on a
Hmm.
course and to be with others. Yeah.
Definitely.
Mm.
And with an expert who's actually practitioner who's actually um, yeah reflecting those back to you.
Yeah.
Um, all right, Maria, thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you for these insights, and thank you for taking up the invite of being here.
Mm. Yeah, it's probably one of my least favorite things to do, to be videoed, to be recorded for my work, to be out there. It
It
takes a
has
great deal
been
of presence to be, yeah. It's, yeah, thank you so much, Vivian, for inviting me. Yeah, really,
thank you,
a delight.
everybody, and we'll see you soon for another episode of Warriors Podcast. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian.
Bye bye.